to Tales of Repetition Compulsion 11, or Torque 11, as I call them. Since repetition compulsion can be a difficult concept to understand, I feel the best way to explain it is to give examples, or tales, from our everyday lives, showing how it invades every aspect of our lives. Each tale is centered around a specific life category, a specific bad message, and a character. So, in today's Tales of Repetition Compulsion 11, the life category is family roles, the bad message is you are alone, nobody loves you, and the character is Eva. Do you feel like you are alone and nobody loves you? I did. For a long time, this is how I felt. But I managed to find a way to stop what I call this bad message from controlling and ruining my life. My 3 dogs, who I call the 3 wise tales, will show you how I did this at the end of this section. So where does this bad message, I am alone, nobody loves me, come from? Where does it come from? Children learn what they live, and they are subconsciously programmed to repeat in their adult lives what they learned as a child. So when Eva was a child, she learned that she didn't matter, as her carers seldom paid any attention to her. As a result, Eva felt very alone. She felt she had nobody to turn to if she ever needed to talk to someone or if she ever needed help. No matter what she did, and no matter how hard she tried to get noticed by her carers, nothing worked. Is it any surprise that over time, Eva absorbed a powerful bad message into her subconscious mind, and that message was, I am alone, nobody loves me. This belief became a part of how Eva saw herself. She never questioned this. It was something that she felt was the truth. But since this bad message of Eva feeling she was alone and nobody loved her sat in her subconscious mind, she carried it forward into her adult life. Eva was not even aware that she was feeding herself this bad message because, I've just lost my place. As I said, it sat in her subconscious mind, constantly feeding to her that she was alone and nobody loved her. So let's look at Eva as a child. Eva grew up in a household where everyone was physically present, but they were emotionally absent. Meals were eaten quickly and in silence. My God, that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? No one asked Eva how her day was. If she tried to talk, she was often told, not now, I'm busy, or ignored completely. When Eva was upset, her caregivers did not notice, or they noticed and did nothing. Does that feel familiar to you? It kind of feels familiar to me. If she cried, she was left alone in her room until she stopped crying. Have you ever cried alone and kept crying till your tears ran dry? I have. And nobody came to ask you, are you okay? Does that happen to you? It's pretty awful, isn't it? Anyway, back to Eva. There was no comfort, no checking in, and no reassurance that she mattered. On birthdays or special occasions, the focus was always on practicalities, never on Eva herself, even though it was her birthday. There were no hugs, no warmth, no sense of being cherished. So let's look at an example of something that happened one day. Eva is only a child. She's 8 years old and she comes home from school upset because her best friend didn't sit with her at lunch. I mean, God love her. Eva didn't understand why her friend ignored her at lunch, but she knew she could ask her mother about this when she got home. Well, at least she thought she could. When Eva gets back from school, her mother is in the kitchen, busy and tired. Well, nothing's changed. Eva stands near the door for a moment, waiting to be noticed. And she eventually says to her mother, Ma'am, something bad happened today. Her mother sighs and says, Oh, not now, Eva. I've had a long day. And her mother keeps on cooking and does not even turn around to look at the little girl. So Eva stands there for a few seconds longer and then she goes back up to her bedroom alone. Later that evening, Eva comes downstairs while the adults are watching television. So Eva has spent the whole evening up in her bedroom on her own, feeling really upset because her best friend didn't sit with her at lunchtime. So she comes down to the living room. Everyone's in there sitting watching telly. And Eva sits on the edge of the sofa, hoping that somebody will just notice she exists or somebody will talk to her. But nobody even looks at her. No one asks Eva, how is she? After a few minutes, her father says, Eva, what are you doing hanging about here? Go back up to bed now. And that's it. There's no good night hug from anyone. So Eva just leaves the room as empty as she came in and heads back up to her bedroom on her own. She ends up lying in bed, listening to voices downstairs, laughing and chatting away without her. God, that feels so familiar. Eva realises she won't be able to talk to her mother about what happened at school that day. So she stops thinking about telling anyone how she feels. Eva learns that when she is sad or upset, she is on her own. And as a result, the bad message, you are alone, nobody loves you, is born. To survive emotionally, Eva stopped reaching out. She became self-contained, undemanding, and invisible. And she never tells anyone if she's upset, and she never tells anyone if she needs help. She never asks for support. So let's go fast forward now to Eva as an adult. She remains closely connected to her family, but the emotional pattern has not changed. Eva is the one who always checks in, always remembers birthdays, always offers help. Yet, when Eva needs support, nobody notices and nobody ever offers. Eva is now in her 30s and one day she attends a family gathering. She keeps herself busy, the usual, bringing in plates to the table, making pots of tea and checking if everyone else is okay. Her sister is talking about her problems at work. Everyone listens closely. Questions are asked, advice is given, support is offered. And then Eva waits for a pause in the conversation and says, well, I've been having a really hard time lately myself. No one responds. Someone interrupts and changes the subject back to the sister story. Eva smiles politely while the conversation again goes back to the sister. Later, driving home, Eva feels heavy and empty. She realizes again that no one asked how she was. No one asked how she was getting on in work or in her new home. Once again, she feels emotionally invisible. She may be surrounded by family, but she feels completely alone. That same feeling from childhood returns. You are alone, nobody loves you. The situation is different in age and setting, but the emotional experience is the same. And this is repetition compulsion. The bad message that Eva learned in her childhood, you are alone, nobody loves you, has followed her into her adult life. Eva is not choosing to feel this way consciously. As a child, she learned what it was like to live without love. And as I said, since children learn what they live, this feeling of not feeling loved became Eva's normal. This was what was normal for her. This is what felt familiar to her. What feels familiar feels safe, even when it's painful. So, as an adult, Eva is subconsciously drawn into family roles that recreate the emotional neglect she suffered as a child. Not because she wants to suffer, but because her system recognizes this dynamic as her normal. On Eva's part, she is not to blame for feeling this way. This is what she learned as a child. Eva does not even know she is still operating under the control of the bad message, you are alone, nobody loves you. She does not know she is under the control of repetition compulsion. So, can Eva break free from this control? Yes, most definitely. And that's why I set up this channel, because I broke free from the bad messages and from repetition compulsion. And I want to share this with you because my life is so much better now, and I want this to happen for you too. So yes, most definitely, you can break free from the bad messages and from repetition compulsion. And I'm going to hand you over now to my three beautiful dogs. I call them the three wise tails. They have the important job of showing you how to break free from being under the control of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Hello, Petal, Blossie and Dotty. I am delighted to see you. Now, you three get to work and explain how to break free from the bad messages and repetition compulsion.
Hello, my name is Petal, and I am the first of the 3 wise tales. Today, we are going to show you how to heal from repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages using one simple but powerful idea. Are you living your life as the top dog, or are you stuck as a cog? Are you top dog or cog? Let me start by explaining what we're up against. Repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages are powerful subconscious forces that cause us to repeat in our adult lives what we learned in a toxic and abusive childhood. Growing up in a toxic or abusive environment, we learned what Annette calls the 6 bad messages. And they are: number 1, you are not enough. Number 2, you are responsible for me and others. Number 3, don't trust your feelings and don't trust your instincts. Number 4, you are bad, you are wrong. Number 5, you are alone, nobody loves you. And number 6, you must be perfect or nobody will love you. But these 6 bad messages are a pack of lies. They are not the truth about you. You see, we didn't choose these 6 bad messages, and I will explain why. As little children, we could not dare to admit to ourselves that our caregivers were bad or wrong or even abusive. So we subconsciously turned the blame on ourselves, and we started feeding the 6 bad messages to ourselves. We felt we were to blame for our unhappiness and the toxic environment we lived in. Since this was all done subconsciously, we didn't even know we were doing this. But here's the problem. When these 6 bad messages run our lives without us even knowing it, we are not in control of our lives. We are not the top dog. We are just a cog, a small moving part inside the sinister machinery of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages. That's why the very first way to heal is awareness. Awareness means seeing the pattern. When you look at your behaviour and your choices, you can recognise a pattern. You can see that your behaviour and choices are not just bad luck. They are not just due to your personality. Instead, they are what you learned to do in your childhood, and you are now repeating this in your adult life. The moment you become aware of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages, something extraordinary happens. The machinery of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages starts to lose its power. Because once something is in your conscious mind, in your awareness, it can no longer secretly control you. Awareness moves you out of being a helpless cog and starts to put you firmly in the position of top dog. You start to acknowledge for the first time that the forces of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages are running your life, and now you can actually see what's happening. And when you can see it, you can change it. You will no longer be under the control of repetition compulsion and those awful 6-line bad messages. Welcome to freedom. Welcome to being top dog. And now let me hand you over to Blossie. He's going to tell you the second way to heal from being under the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages.
Hello, my name is Blossie, and I am the second of the 3 wise tales. I am very old, so these days I have a long white beard. But being very old doesn't just mean I have a hairy face. It also means I am very wise, and I am so happy to share this wisdom with you. Now let me tell you why the second way to heal is so important. Most people who grew up in toxic or abusive homes were never taught to trust their feelings or instincts. In fact, they were often taught the opposite. If they ever dared to speak up and give their opinion on something, or if they ever expressed how they felt about something, they were often told, "Oh, you're too sensitive," or "You're just imagining things," or "Oh, don't be so dramatic," or "Will you keep your opinions to yourself and don't make trouble?" Over time, they learned to disconnect from their feelings and their instincts, and in doing this, they disconnected from their inner warning system. And that inner warning system, your feelings and your instincts, it is your natural defense system. When you don't trust your instincts, you can't protect yourself. And when you can't protect yourself, you would be easily exploited by toxic and abusive people. That's how repetition compulsion keeps you as a cog. You keep walking back into toxic relationships. You keep tolerating mistreatment. You keep overriding the feeling that says, "This doesn't feel right. I should be away from this." But when you start to listen to your feelings and trust your instincts, everything changes. Your instincts sense danger before your thoughts even catch up. Trusting your feelings and your instincts means you start choosing safety. You start choosing yourself. You start saying no to toxic and abusive situations. And every time you listen to that inner voice, you step out of the machinery. You stop being a cog and you become the top dog. You become the boss of your life. Because top dogs protect themselves. Top dogs listen to their inner voices. Top dogs don't abandon themselves just to keep the peace. Top dogs protect themselves from toxic and abusive situations. So today, no more being a cog. Today, you start being the top dog. And now, let me hand you over to Dotty. She's going to tell you the third way to break free from the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages.
Hello, my name is Dotty, and I am the third of the 3 wise tales. Did you know that I am the queen in the pack, so I am the top dog? I just had a bath as I rolled in fox poo again, so Annette had to clean me before I'm allowed back up on the bed. Now I'm going to tell you about the final way to heal, and this one is powerful. You see, the 6 bad messages, they didn't come from nowhere. They came from toxic childhood experiences where we had to adapt in order to survive. Remember how Petal told us that as little children we could not dare to admit to ourselves that our caregivers were bad or wrong or even abusive? So we turned the blame on ourselves and we started feeding the 6 bad messages to ourselves. Well, these 6 bad messages followed us all the way into adulthood. They stay with us unless we learn to get rid of them. So here's the truth about the 6 bad messages. They are not facts. They are lies we learned as we tried to survive in a toxic or abusive childhood. And every time we repeat them in our heads, we say things to ourselves like, "I'm not enough," "I must be perfect," "I'm alone in this world." We are feeding the machinery of repetition compulsion. The 6 bad messages feed into keeping us stuck under the control of repetition compulsion. They keep us stuck as cogs in the machinery of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages. Therefore, the third way to break free from being under the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages is to nip and flip the bad messages. This means catching the bad message and stopping it. You nip it in the bud. You don't give it airtime. When you hear this message coming into your mind, you nip it in the bud. You interrupt it and then you flip it to the truth. So, you are not enough becomes I am enough exactly as I am. You are responsible for me and others becomes no, I am responsible for myself. You are alone becomes I am not alone. People love me. I have lots of people in my life who love me. Now, you would probably say to me, you're a Dotty, but that's so obvious. But it's not obvious. And why do I say this? Because the 6 bad messages are fed to you from your subconscious mind. So you are not even aware you are feeding yourself these bad messages. But when you hear a bad message coming in and you flip it to a good message, then you are able to retrain your conscious mind to believe the good messages about yourself. And it is very important to remember that you can control what you say to yourself with your conscious mind. You can retrain your conscious mind to believe the truth about yourself. You learn to really believe how you are a fine, good, wonderful person that deserves love and respect. Every time you nip and flip a bad message, you take your power back. You stop believing the lies that were never yours to begin with. And this is how you step fully into being the top dog. Because top dogs choose their thoughts. Top dogs don't let old childhood programming run the show. Top dogs are no longer cogs in a system designed to keep them stuck. So today, I want to finish by telling you a few good messages from the 3 wise tales. I want to tell you that you are not alone. You are here with us, and we are all learning to have better lives. And one more thing. The 3 wise tales want to tell you that we really,